Yeah, there you go.
So, second talk of the evening, give it up for Sandy Maeyer.
Right, good evening. I don't know if there's any sound on this thing. I hope there is because I have a small video, but cool. So I'm gonna talk about ember-static-sites. Don't worry, it's not an add-on. So yeah, let's start. My name is Sam. I recently fell in love with horses. I just love horses. I have been to London to a few horseback riding schools, from really expensive, really close to my place, to less expensive, an hour travel, but I decided to travel 2 hours to have the £27 per hour one. If anybody wants to follow me, I'm not really active on these things, but you can follow me if you want. And I work for Smart Pension, an amazing pension provider company here based in London. We are building solutions in Ember, React, Ruby on Rails, Rails. We're also hiring, so if anybody is looking for a job. Currently we are hiring a lot of backend people, and we're growing the team quite big and quite fast. So if there's any backend positions that you're interested in, we are hiring from graduates all the way up to senior. On the front end, we have put a hold because we have been hiring quite a lot. My latest 2 hires are in the audience today. And in a few months' time, we'll probably start hiring front end as well again. Anyway, I was browsing the web, and one of my friends told me to look at this. I hope there is some sound on here. This is just amazing. Right, let's... Okay, there we go. And obviously there's no sound. I'll put the sound on my computer. That should work. Okay, let's try this one.
To a framework I will go. Ambitious apps are easy when Ember runs the show. Templates, routes, and models, it's a client MVC. Best practices from all around. Come try Ember with me.
There's a hidden message in it, I can see it.
So yeah, everybody, Ember is awesome, as you can see. So if you never tried Ember or used Ember before, try it because it's just cool. Now this is Ember Tutorials Level 1. I just stole their intro for this presentation, so I'm not taking any credit for that. But I found it so funny. One of my colleagues told me, look at the first 10 seconds, it's awesome. There is a link of this one at the end of the presentation. So if you want to see the whole episode, you can. Oh.
Have you got a link to the chords and the lyrics?
Not yet, but I will.
Capture.
Right. So most of us, or some people in the audience, probably are either web developers or software engineers. How many people have asked you to build a website? Like, this is the most common question for me. If I'm going out having a beer, people are like, oh, you're a software engineer, or you're a web developer. Can you make me a website? Yes, I can, but I really don't want to. Mainly because if you want a website, I can do it in HTML, but then they want some content, or they want to build it out as an app, and it's just a bit of a hassle. Also, what do you do with the price? Usually I still do it, but then the big question is, what software are you going to use? Which framework are you going to use? Obviously, I'm an Ember guy. I've been writing in Ember for the last 4 to 5 years, so I would always suggest Ember. But then the big question comes, why Ember? Yeah, obviously, because I know Ember. Yeah, but Ember is slow. Ember is fat. Ember is big. Don't use Ember if it's just a static website. Now, this has happened to me quite a lot of times, and I was like, you know what? Fine. If you don't want Ember, find somebody else. Usually, they go for a very small React or Angular solution because it's very light. Now, I was curious, how heavy is Ember for static websites? I don't really know. Because Ember comes out of the box with a routing system, with Ember Data, with Ajax, with jQuery, with a whole bunch of stuff that you might not need in a web app. So let's build a website and let's use React. No, I'm joking. Let's use Ember and let's use React. So first things first. Let's create a project, assuming that you guys have used Ember before. I'm going to skip the installation of Ember itself. We have installed Ember, we have installed React on our computers, and the first step is going to be create a new app. We're going to create Ember new static Ember site. This will generate a whole bunch of files for us. And then once we have these files, we just cd into the project. The steps for React are similar. npx create React app, static React site, and we're going to build the application. Same thing, it will generate a folder with a folder structure with all the whole framework inside. Now, before I start going into details on what we're going to do, this is not a contest, okay? Right, let's start. Let's create a very simple website. We'll just steal a theme from a free provider from Bootstrap. Everybody's worked with Bootstrap. It's fast. It's sustainable. It's responsive. So we can just use a free Bootstrap application. Now, what makes Ember so heavy? Why is Ember so fat? Ember was created on top of jQuery, which is fine because when Ember was created, there weren't really many alternatives, and we had to use some kind of library that can do all of this functionality for us. So the guys who started Ember, they started building it on top of jQuery. Now, throughout the years, one of the most common things I hear in web development is, can we please strip out jQuery? Let's not use jQuery. jQuery has become too big, too slow, mainly because a lot of ES6 arrow functions and iterators have replaced what jQuery can do. Plus, if you only need one thing, you don't need to bloat the whole framework. So first things first, so we have created a new Ember application, and once we are in the Ember application, we just want to check the size. The size of the Ember application is 141 megabytes. That is a lot for a website. But hold on. Let's create a React application. This is 201 megabytes. That doesn't make sense. How come? I thought React was so much smaller and so much faster. What is going on here? Yes, I was mistaken. I just installed an application, but I did not build the application for the web and exported this. So after the actual build, I come up with 7.2 megabytes for our Ember application, which is much better than 141 megabytes. It's still a lot, but it's, I guess in a certain way you can say, it's fine, let's continue. But React has only 488 kilobytes. What the hell is going on there? I mean, I don't understand. I really don't understand what is going on there. But fine, it's good for React that they have this really skinned down, fast system, and I'm totally fine with it. If somebody asks me, can you please write an application in React? I will do it for the right price, obviously. Right. Let's do something in Ember, because Ember is still on this day containing jQuery. But we can remove jQuery now. The guys in Ember, in the core team and in the community have decided we really need to skim this down and we need to get rid of jQuery because it's too big and we can resolve it in way other ways than using this. And now they have introduced the optional features configuration. And we can just toggle it to false. And that's it. So let's have a look how that looks. Right. So we just say jQuery integration false, and in our package.json we just remove the dev dependency. We run yarn again, and the yarn.log file gets generated. Now by default it will still use the npm packages to install the app. So I just removed the package.json. I hope if I do this, yes. So, now I've removed jQuery. Let's have another look at our build. Alright, 6.6. We already lost some weight. That's good, that's very good. But in React, there is no jQuery, so we don't need to remove it. So we end up with the same file size. But we're getting there, right? I mean, we're only 6, 12, 13 times as heavy. But fine, I can live with it. Now, when we initiate a new Ember application, we still have some things that we don't really need if we're just building a static website. So let's remove those unnecessary packages. We have the Ember welcome page, which just comes by default. There's a component that renders a very beautiful welcome to Ember, and it explains you how to remove it. Very easy. Now we also have Ember data, which we're not going to use because we're not going to build an application. We're just building a static website, and we're not going to do any AJAX request. And we already removed jQuery. The Ember AJAX is not necessary as well, so let's just remove it. How would that look? There we go. So I have removed the welcome page, and yeah, the explanation is tells you how to do it. Simply remove the AJAX and the Ember data and the welcome page packages from package.json, run yarn again, and we're done. So how is this going to look when we build again? Wow, we really are losing weight now. So we are at 5 megabytes. Now, I have removed yet 3 packages that did not need to be removed in React. However, React comes out of the box very small and very skinny, so there is no router in there. Ember comes with a routing system by default, and we're going to build a page with routes, with different pages, so we do need a router in the React application. Very simply go online, React routing, you'll find a tutorial. You can check it out later as well. What happens here is we add the React router DOM, and I have implemented from the application tutorial a dummy app router. This is just a very simple router that renders 3 pages with a single line of text in each page and some links to those pages. Right, so we are losing weight on Ember, but at the same time React is actually gaining some weight. And we went from 488 to 604 kilobytes. I mean, we're still talking kilobytes, not even megabytes, but fine. Let's just take it how it is. It is not a contest. Now let's build the actual app. Let's add Bootstrap, and let's just copy a theme from a free theme provider. Shouldn't be a big issue. So let's add Bootstrap, and we are going to use the Start Bootstrap clean block theme. The only thing that we're going to use from that theme is the actual HTML and the CSS. We're not even talking about JavaScript because it contains jQuery. In both cases, we should add jQuery, so that will give us the same results. So when we add Bootstrap in Ember, I'm just importing the CSS from the theme. This is the actual CSS. I'm not going to open it. We're going to import it to our application. We're also installing Bootstrap, and that's it. Now, in React, we're doing mostly the same thing. Just adding Bootstrap. This is the CSS, and we are just adding that Bootstrap, the Bootstrap itself, plus the theme to our files. That's it, nothing more. Right, at this point we have a new build size. We gained 0.200 megabytes, and on the React part, more or less the same. Now, let's add some content. What's happening now is we're just adding HTML from the actual template, plus images, and a little bit of JavaScript to make the drop-down work. Nothing more than that. So let's do that. And I have everything on GitHub, so after you can actually see, follow it on GitHub if you like. So here we have a simple controller with a toggle property. To add a class, we are adding some fonts, we are adding our routes, we have some empty routes. That is actually my fault. We don't even need those routes, so actually our application could be even smaller. The CSS, and then we have for each page some HTML. And of course our images, that is coming from our theme. Now, we are doing exactly the same for React. Basically, oh, that's the same link. That's my bad. Anyway, it's not really important what's in there. It's the same thing. So we're just adding those pages, HTML, a little bit of JavaScript to make the drop-down work. And then we're adding the images, and the CSS is already there. Now, let's build our site again. In our dist folder, we end up with 11 megabytes. And in React, 6.9. So we are getting fatter again. We're getting bigger again. But we're getting close to each other, so it seems that something has happened in between. But fair enough, let's continue. There's one thing we have not done. We have just built this app, and we are just running this in our development mode. And this is done because we want to debug stuff, we want to see the code, we want to work in the code. So now let's build it for production. Building for production means you're going to minify everything. And you're gonna take away some, you're gonna map everything. Very simply, the command ember build environment equals production, and we're building for production. Now, when we build for production, it actually takes away a lot of our weight. We went on a fast diet all the way. Now we end up with 6.4 megabytes. Still quite large for a website, but 6.4 megabytes is fine, because we have to consider we still have the images inside, which are quite big. They're not compressed. And they will also be in our React application. Now, for React, we're going to do the same. We're going to do yarn build -p. We'll see, yes, creating an optimized production build. Can anybody tell me how much there will be left at this point? Nobody? We are left with exactly the same as before, because React always built in production mode. So we were fooling ourselves. We were thinking, wow, we have a really big application on our hands, but that's not true. We had a big application because we were not minifying any of the files. We didn't have any CSS maps. It was just the full size. And in the end, again, it's not a contest, but in the end, Ember won. I mean, I did this for the first time myself yesterday, and I was just mind blown. And obviously, we have the images that take away. I mean, the images are quite big. There's one step I left out in the Ember application. This is actually built in Ember 2.5. I did an upgrade to check the difference, but there wasn't. There wasn't any difference, so it's not really worth putting it in the slides. But then again, if I would have done this with Ember before 3.0, we would have seen a huge difference if we would have upgraded. Just so you know, the React site is also built in the latest version of React. The only thing that what I'm trying to say here is we don't have to be afraid of these tools to build a static website. You can build a static website with any framework you like, because nowadays all those frameworks are trying to get to slim down their file sizes. They're trying to be faster and better, and at the same time, our internet is going better, and our internet is getting faster. We can leverage more. We can use new tools. Even on our phones, it's purely HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It runs extremely fast. So if anybody asks you, can you write me an application or a website in Ember, or just a static website? Sure, choose whatever framework you want. And there are definitely more frameworks that are much faster. I'm pretty sure there are. I didn't want to go too much into detail. Again, it is not a real contest. Ember, React, Angular, Vue, it doesn't really matter. The thing is, if you know how to use these tools, don't be afraid of them. Use them, even if it's for a static website. If you have an Ember application and all your developers are using Ember, then why not use Ember for your static application? That doesn't mean that you have to. I mean, we're all developers. We all want to explore new things. We want to get along with new things. So if you choose another technology, that's fine as well. All these technologies are aiming for the same goal: being faster, being better, being great at what they're supposed to do. So, Ember has lost a lot of weight over the years. I remember when people said, "Oh, Ember, no, it's so slow." That is true. We were slow. It was slow, but it's not anymore. So I just want to give a great big shout out to the Ember Core team who has been working really hard to achieve these goals. Because I've been going to Ember meetups and Ember conferences for 4 or 5 years now. And each time they say, we want to progress, we want to do something new, we want to do better. And they're doing it. They're actually doing it. I had a discussion today with one of our in-house React developers. And he was stunned. He said, wow, I did not expect that React is quite heavy in this sense. And React is a team of people who are building on the React application, but it's still owned by a company. And it's owned by this huge company, and the same for some others. As for the Ember team, it is all people who want to be involved. Now, this is the core team, but it's not up to the core team to write all of this information and all of these updates. So I want to have another big thank you for the Ember community. The Ember community is just so big and so welcoming. And even though a lot of people say the documentation on Ember is quite bad, which is not true. Documentation is good. But if you just go online and type in this error in Ember, yes, you might have some issues. But we have a community. Go on the Slack channel. Go subscribe to the Slack channel. Subscribe to the newsletter. Be informed of all these new things. We have a community of more than 1,000 people. If you go on the Slack channel and you say, I have a problem.
Discord now.
Yes. Yeah, okay. No, but not only the London one. We have the...
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right. Ignore this slide. Anyway, a big thank you for everybody who's working on Ember. And thank you very much. And like I said, we are hiring. So on the last link here, you can check out our career opportunities. There is a link to the community as well, and the two sites if anybody wants to run them. They are identical, completely the same. They run as fast one as another. There might be a slight, performance in 100 milliseconds or less, but hardly noticeable. So thank you very much. And if anybody wants to follow me, I am quite fast if I'm on the horse, so you'll have to run. Thank you.